Well, hi, welcome to the virtual studios of Mark Holland, NLP Mind Coach. How would you like a way to change the way you feel from moment to moment, day to day, in an instant, whenever you want it? Well, today we're going to have a short lesson on the power of anchoring. What is anchoring? Anchoring is basically a stimulus response so that you can change your internal neurology to achieve what it is that you want easier, with effort and ease, so that you can enjoy the process of living the life that you deserve to have right now. What is anchoring? Well, anchoring was first discovered in the early stages in the early 1900s. Well, this is about 1902 when a guy by the name of Dr. William Twittmeyer. Now, this guy was well known, or became well known, for what he discovered when he'd talk with patients and do a reflex test. You know, those little hammers that they'd hit you on the knee and your knee would flex up. This is what we call the knee-jerk reaction, or the knee-jerk response. Now, what would happen when Dr. Twittmeyer would do this? He would do it normally and it would respond, the knee would respond through a reflex. Then he found and discovered that he would tell the patient he was going to do it and the knee would jerk up as well. This sounds a lot like anchoring, doesn't it? Now, this really didn't go very far because the American medical board didn't really do much to this except call it the knee-jerk response, or the knee-jerk reaction. Then a guy in Russia came along by the name of Ivan Pavlov, and you've probably heard of this guy. Now, what did he do? He took it to the next stage where he had some dogs. He had his dogs and he had a tuning fork or a bell and some meat. And what he'd do, he'd feed the dogs and then ring the tuning fork. Feed the dogs meat and ring the tuning fork. And then what he did and discovered that when he'd ring the bell or ring the tuning fork, the dogs would start to salivate. Now, this becomes very exciting because what's happening is he's now neurologically linked meat or food is equal to bell. Now, this happens in our everyday life. I don't know whether you think about, if you were to think now of things that you do in your life right now that are caused by a stimulus response, or you respond to them based on an anchor or something that fires off in your life. Think about the alarm. An alarm goes off, the morning alarm, the alarm bell rings or the radio goes off. What do? You respond to it. You either hit the snooze button, I don't want to get up, or you actually get up and do what it is that you want in a day. Or what about the phone? We've all got these smartphones and we're all on these phones and the phone rings. What do? We answer it. Now, with caller ID, we can sort of see who these people are, so we know whether we want to talk to them or not. You know, in the early stages when the phone first came out, you never knew who was on the other end. You know, I had this one friend that, you know, it didn't matter who was ringing, he wouldn't answer the phone. You know, even with answering machines, you know, he'd listen to it and he wouldn't actually speak to them. You know, with call ID, you've probably done this before. You look and see, do I really want to speak to this person? You know, how are you responding to that person? You know, they feel yes, positive towards that, or no, I'll talk to them later. Or you could be busy as well. Or what about you driving along the road? Driving along the road, and then the light goes red. And what do? You stop. Why do we do this? These are anchors that are in our everyday life. So we're experiencing anchors from moment to moment, day to day in our life, and we don't even realize it. Now, we can use this to a positive advantage to our own lives. We can utilize this tool, and we're going to do that today. Now, where else? Where else can we notice where anchoring is used to positively influence us? Advertising. Advertising is a place where you have, you know, fit, healthy, you know, good-looking people having fun. Fit, healthy, good-looking people having fun, and have a bottle of Coke. Fit, healthy, good-looking people having fun, bottle of Coke. Fit, healthy people, bottle of Coke, fun. Then all those things are neurologically linked, which means Coke is fun, hanging out with good-looking people. So these are things that we like, that we're drawn to, we're attracted to. So Coke means having fun, hanging out with people, hanging out with friends, hanging out with family, hanging out with people that we want to hang out with. You know, you may not want to hang out with some people, but Coke equals having fun with the people you want to hang out with. You know, this is a lot of behavioral psychology in action, where we're using or utilizing states that we have past experience, having fun with people, and new things, anchoring something new in that, which is a bottle of Coke. Now, how can we utilize this? Well, it was interesting. I had this one client that her mother actually came to me. She was 16, so she's in her senior year of school, and she really needed to knuckle down and do some work. And she was finding it very, very hard to focus and get motivated to do her work. And then also there was another area where she was a very good violinist. She played the violin incredibly well, but she was petrified and couldn't actually get up in front of people. So what we did, we worked with those two areas quite separately, but we used this powerful process of anchoring to make massive and lasting change. So how did we do it? Firstly, what we did, we identified some powerful positive resources that she's experienced in her life, things that she really enjoys doing. Something like hanging out with friends, just doing things that she enjoys doing, shopping, talking on the phone with her friends, just those feelings, comfort, relaxed, excitement, having fun, all those really powerful positive emotions. And what we did, we linked and created an anchor for when she'd go and study, that she could fire off the anchor and then feel as though, yeah, I can do this. This is going to be easy. I'm enjoying this. This is a fun process, because usually we're creating a negative link to things that we don't want to do. So how would you like a way to link positive, powerful emotions and feelings to something that you need to do, need to get done? Because let's face it, there's things in our life that we need to do, that we need to get done, make happen, and get to it. And this is a really powerful way to do that. So once we created this powerful resource, then whenever she went to study, she'd fire that anchor, have the feelings, fire the anchor, have the feelings, so that then we linked study as fun, easy, you can do this is going to be an enjoyable process. Now let's go to the violin. Now this was an interesting area where what we did, we associated or created a space. She had this safe space where she would play the violin perfectly. Every time that she played on her own with no crowds, she had this amazing ability to play really, really well. So what we did, we identified that place, that circle of security, and then we'd imagine placing that on the stage. So we placed that place of security on the stage, so when she walked out on the stage, she was in that place where she practiced, she did it well, she did it perfectly, everything went exactly how it was supposed to, and having fun, enjoying the process. Imagine some moments in your life where you could utilize this to your advantage. I'm imagining you could think of them now. It's powerful, positive states that you could utilize in your life right now. Let's think of some. What about going for a job interview? How about asking someone out on a date for the first time? How about getting the courage to ask for a raise from your boss? Or what about study? Like we've just discussed, study, or achieving excellence in something that you do right now, getting into state. I don't know whether you've noticed that sometimes when artists will go on stage, they go through a ritual of getting into state, getting into a mindset so they can achieve what it is that they want to achieve. And how do they do that? They see, hear and feel a certain way, and they fire that off so that they're in peak state, in a peak time, peak moment when they are going out to perform. Or what about a sports player? Sportsmen do exactly the same thing, where they go out and they identify a time when they felt incredibly resourced, and when they're in that state, that's the state they want to be in when they're playing the game. Now, you would know or recall times right now when you were not as resourceful as you wanted to be, and you needed something to achieve what it is that you wanted. And you thought about that. As you think about that now, I'm going to show you the simple and to follow process on how to make it happen easily for you right now. Now, there's 4 basic steps to achieve what it is that you want to achieve by creating an anchor. Now, the 4 steps are: step 1, which is get into the state, get into the specific state that you want, your internal response. The second is you need to anchor that state and fuse the state by doing some sort of anchor. And one of the anchors that we would use is our thumb and middle finger, or thumb and index finger on our non-dominant hand, which means if you're left-handed, use your right hand, and if you're right-handed, use your left hand, and you anchor that feeling. So what's happening is you're associating into that state, seeing what you saw, hearing what you heard, feeling those feelings inside, intensifying those feelings. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being really at the peak of the state, 0 being not at all, really high up on that scale. So you're enjoying that state and you're anchoring that state, holding that state for 5 seconds. So you're neurologically connecting the response and you're changing the state. So you're breaking the state, stepping out, opening your eyes, just having a look around, which just breaks that state. Then invoking the state, which means firing it off. And notice that feeling flood through your nervous system. How awesome is it that you can change how you feel whenever you want? Engage the resources that you need to achieve more of what you want in your life. Now, an easy mnemonic that you can use to remember the steps to anchoring is RACE. Now, I learned this from a guy by the name of Christopher Howard, who's an NLP trainer, and these 4 steps are RACE, which is recall, R for recall, A for anchor, C for change the state, and E for evoke the state. So you're going to recall a past time when you felt happy, motivated, excited, whatever that specific state is. You're stepping into that state, seeing what you saw, hearing what you heard, feeling how good it feels to step into that state, anchoring the state. So linking the intensity with an anchor, stepping out, breaking the state, doing that 3, 4, 5 times, 7, 8, 9 times, really layering it in. Then having a look around, taking a few deep breaths, and then firing the anchor. And notice how good you can feel right now by allowing those feelings to flood through your nervous system. Now, this major intense state can be really effective. These powerful positive states can be utilized for your benefit whenever you want, from moment to moment, day to day, when you need it. So think of some specific times where you could utilize these powerful states, or times in your life where you could find anchoring useful. How about going for a job interview, like I said, meeting someone on the first date, sitting for an exam, asking your boss for a raise. These things that happen in our lives that we can step into a resourceful moment and achieve what it is.